kill the bears. Fuck that. You don't need to kill the bears. But if you fly into where my friend Mike lives and talk to those people out there, they can, first of all, they can hunt as many wolves as they want. You could shoot 100 wolves a day.
Yeah, there's no lack of wolves there, is there?
They're everywhere. Yeah. We heard them. You know, I didn't see one when I was up there, but you could hear him off in the distance. But he said that he's got one in his house that jumped at him. And he shot in the air, jumping off of a ridge at him.
Wow.
Yeah, he was making a predator call, and this wolf closed in on him and literally jumped at him, and he shot it in the air. So like in his house, he's got it mounted like this. He's got the wolf mounted like in the same position it was in when it was trying to eat him.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, wolves eat people. People have to realize that. Like, I love wolves, don't get me wrong. But, you know, once I started hunting and then I started really looking into wildlife conservation and then the consequences of letting apex predators get out of control, like, it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, the wolves I've never really been afraid of, but I did, one time I was in Idaho, it was springtime, and I heard something in the, it was like real thick brush again, and I hear something, and all of a sudden this wolf pops out like 5 or 6 feet away, just full dead run, and I like freak out. Hey! I was about ready to kick it, and it veered off the path, and then I hear, and then another one comes running in, and I grab my gun and shoot into the ground. And that one was like from me to you.
Jesus Christ!
And it ran off, but I didn't know. My initial thought was they were just chasing each other playing, and I just happened to be in their way. But I don't know.
You might have been lunch.
Who knows? And maybe I scared it. Yeah. Because I had this.
Well, they hunt them in Idaho, so they probably...
This was before you could hunt them.
Oh, okay.
I was just... and I had a, you know... Well, I got my gun off after the first one, just thinking, well, I don't know what's going on here, but just in case something tries... You know,
John Dudley has a crazy story. You ever talk to him about it?
No.
He told it on the podcast, but there's a video. If anybody wants to listen to the actual story on the podcast, you can find it. But he shot a wolf. Excuse me. He shot an elk in BC.
Yeah.
And Alberta. I think it was Alberta. Shot an elk and didn't realize that where the elk went down was literally right in a wolf's den.
Oh, wow.
There was these bones around and shit. It was literally like a scene from that movie, The Gray.
Yeah. Like there's like broken Jack bottles.
So it was him, and John only has a 4-arrow quiver, right?
Yeah.
He shot 1 arrow, which he used to take down the elk. So he's got 3 arrows left, and he's got a guide with him, and the guide has a rifle, but the guide only has a handful of bullets. He's got like 3 or 4 bullets.
Yeah.
So they're standing there. They're trying to take this elk out. They're quartering it up, and then wolves start circling them and howling. And then they realize, like, oh, fuck. Like, we're literally in the wolf's den. And one wolf makes a dead run at him. He kills it with his bow. Another wolf makes a dead run at it. They shoot it. Another wolf comes down. He shoots it with the rifle. So John has shot 2 with his bow, and the other guy shot 1 with a rifle. John's down to 1 arrow. And the other guy has like maybe 2 bullets.
Wow.
And they're freaking the fuck out. They have their back to a tree, and wolves are circling them. And they're howling because they've already lost 3 wolves.
Yeah.
So he's literally getting charged by wolves with his back to a tree with a giant elk carcass behind him that they're trying to claim.
That's crazy.
Crazy. He said the alpha male was standing on a ridge. He drew back on the wolf. The wolf looked at him and bolted and took off, and the rest of them took off behind him. Yeah. But he said they were circling him, howling, from like doing like a roll call, like trying to see who's still alive, like what's going on here. But even after a gunshot and 2 of them killed with arrows, they were still charged.
That's crazy.
Fuck.
Huh.
It's a great story.
Yeah, it is.
It's terrifying, though. But just let you know, like, people think, well, wolves don't harm people. In World War II, the Russians and the Germans had to call a ceasefire because so many people were getting killed by wolves. They decided to call a ceasefire, kill the wolves, and then go back to killing each other.
That's crazy.
It's a crazy story. World War I or II? 1. I think it's 1. 2?
Two.
Was it 2? Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a
you'd think they
crazy
would have
story.
just like fed on the dead people.
Well, I think there were so many wolves, like Siberia or
Yeah.
Russia, wherever the fuck they were. There's a lot of wolves, you know, and they don't give a shit if you're a person or a chicken or
Yeah.
whatever. They're here to
Just
eat.
go for it.
Yeah, I mean it's cold. It's tough living. It is one. It was one. It's World War One. Yeah, but that's a confirmed story. I mean they were just guys would go out on scouts and they would just vanish, and then they find
Crazy.
their boot with like half a foot still in it, and like what the fuck. Like people
nuts.
don't realize like a wolf can cut through an elk bone with its teeth.
Yeah, when you see a wolf actually take down an elk, it's pretty impressive.
Have you seen it live?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen a single wolf take down a spike elk once.
Wow.
A bull. And what it did was, this is just so fast too. It ran it downhill. They're so smart too, but the elk was on a ridge. The wolf starts chasing it down, and it starts chasing the elk through what we call deadfall, where a bunch of trees have fallen over. So the elk has to exert itself and jump over things. And then the wolf would come in and bite its back legs. And that wolf was so fast, it could run almost between its legs as that elk's running. I mean, it was crazy. And then it got its stomach open, so it's dragging its guts. And then the elk finally would get its guts caught on the trees that it was going over, and then the wolf got it by the neck and just held it until it died.
And you watched all this
yeah.
from how far away?
I don't know, probably 300 yards maybe.
It's funny, you're in my thought. No, back up. You're not in my thoughts at all.